Perfect. So we will start right now. The lesson that I prepared for you tonight is related to immigration law. Okay, so we will discuss a little bit about it. I know that we had like a basis with the videos that we worked before, but now I want to talk about some specific vocabulary, and we take some examples from US and New Zealand because we can see how the warranties works different in these countries depending of the migration law that they use. And it's just a couple of examples. Then by the end of the lesson, we will have a little test. Will be so easy. And I remember that I tell a couple of you that don't have to present it, that I cannot remember the names. I know that I got it in WhatsApp. So if you got it, you don't have to present it. You have 5/5. You have 5/5. It's just 5 questions and it's multiple selections, so no worries at all. Let me see. I know that I write the names. ¿Se acuerdan a quién habíamos eximido? ¿Quién les había dicho que no iban a presentar?
Ali. Soy la Lesca. Me exentaste,
¿Sí?
pero una de las speaking calls. No
No.
me puse WhatsApp.
¿No te puse qué?
O sea, cuando estábamos en la speaking call, me dijiste que no iba a dar examen. No sé.
Sí, eres tú, una, pero había otra. Había más, yo las anoté.
María Lucio.
Bueno, chicas, ustedes se pueden desconectar cuando los demás entren al terror. No, mentira. Bueno, vamos a comenzar ya para que nos dé el tiempo a hacer todo lo que tenemos que hacer. So, as I told you, we will talk about migration. I can't remember if someone more, it was 2 or 3. I will figure out
creo que era yo, perdón, creo que era yo también.
¿Sí?
Sí.
Miren,
Estaba
¿dónde se
buscando
están
ahorita
aprovechando?
en WhatsApp.
Yo voy a buscar los nombres en el WhatsApp,
Eran dos. Gali, tú pusiste 2 nombres en WhatsApp que eran durante la clase y
Sí,
el mío me lo dijiste en la
sí, el
speaking.
tuyo sí me reacuerdo de la speaking call, que fue por la respuesta. Y los 2 nombres de WhatsApp los voy a buscar, Pero confío. Entonces, María, Lalesca y Laura no presentan. Ya tienen 5/5. No se tienen que desgastar. ¿Listo? We will start right now with the tests because I start to see our schedules. So now it's working like 1 test per week that I will adapt it. Not the days that we have speaking calls because I need to take scores. The other days, but you will see that it's so easy. ¿Va? Comencemos entonces. Let me know if you are seeing my screen. No, I am sharing already. So can you see it? Yeah. Yes? Right? Are you seeing my screen? Yes. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So the first thing that we need to keep in mind is that immigration law is really related to the sovereignty of the countries, right? Un segundo, estoy experimentando problemas técnicos. Yeah. So why? Because of course, as you know, every time that you arrive to a country by plane, by boat, or crossing the border, you know that the country, based on this sovereignty, they can let you in or not, without explanations. It's like, welcome or not. They can make you some questions about the money that you will spend, about why are you there, if you have like some family or friends, what are the reasons that makes that you are visiting that country. If in that questions you don't answer in the way that they want or they are expecting for, they are allowed to put your P in an airplane back to your country, right? And also, when they establish like all the different situations that you can get in a country, it's important that you understand that they can do whatever that they want. If you are not following some specific or special proceedings, forget the documents in that context, okay? So immigration law. Here we have one apart from one sentence where you can see the way that they call all the cases, right? So in Dirty Scott versus Sanford, Chief Justice Roger Taney famously wrote that Black people had no rights which the white man has bound to respect. Many aspects of immigration policy are unfortunately based on a similar assumption. Immigrants have virtually no constitutional rights that the federal government is bound to respect. Esto es muy triste, pero es cierto. Y en especial en países donde tenemos un flujo migracional tan grande como Estados Unidos, ¿verdad? Se entiende y hay un debate muy grande en sistemas internacionales de protección de derechos respecto de la ilegalidad o la legalidad de los migrantes, ¿sí? Se supone, ahorita, hablando en un lenguaje inclusivo, se supone que no hay migrantes ilegales, solamente son migrantes que no han regularizado una situación o que tienen un diferente estatus. Pero en teoría, uno nunca puede estar en contra de la ley, porque la ley en aspectos generales nos protege. Luego, en sistemas federales como el estadounidense, pueden haber posiciones distintas y encontrar como en la vida, como hay personas terribles, también hay personas muy buenas. Es lo mismo pasa con los jueces, ¿verdad? Entonces, hay jueces, como el de este caso, por eso lo tomé, es un ejemplo, para que vean que sigue habiendo este tipo de gente que lo ve de esta manera. Y yo me acuerdo que en una clase anterior nosotros vimos el video donde explicábamos que los nenes en Estados Unidos no tienen una asistencia, pero porque así lo establece la ley, ¿verdad? Así el juez sea el mejor de todos, la ley no genera esas garantías porque se entiende que ellos están bajo una situación irregular y por ende es como una presunción de culpabilidad, ¿verdad? Pero básicamente esos temas de discriminación y esa violencia multisectorial en aspectos de migrantes, hasta ahorita está entrando como una categoría de protección internacional. Pero como saben, ya esto es de la vida, no es fácil enfrentarse a una nueva sociedad y en especial cuando no hablan tu idioma, cuando estás solo, cuando, bueno, todas las complicaciones que uno, o sea, no es sencillo estar en el país de uno. Imagínense en un país en donde no puedes comunicarte con facilidad, no tienes trabajo, no tienes amigos, no tienes familia. Bueno, y determinadas circunstancias en tu vida pueden generar que tú tomes ciertas decisiones un poco menos racionales que las tomarías si estuvieras en tu zona de confort en tu país. Por esto vemos todo este tema de que a veces las personas se van a trabajar a Estados Unidos, a Canadá, a Nueva Zelanda, y al ver esas condiciones de vida, ellos toman la decisión de seguir irregulares, entonces no ilegales. This is the first thing that we need to keep in mind. They are not illegal, they are irregular. And when the police or the government catch them, they need a lawyer. But in the most of the times, we will check in the list that I create for you, that it's so difficult one time that you are involved in one migration case. It's so hard that you can demonstrate that the people if didn't follow one proceeding or one rules established by the country, it's so hard that you makes that they continue in the country, right? The exceptions are really, really low and depends, of course. But in US, for example, that they have the hardest system in this area of law, talking about the countries that we know, of course, that China, Japan, and other countries, they have other kind of laws, but because we share, right? We share cultures, and we know that the American dream from 20 years or 50 years ago until now continue being like the objective of a lot of Latin American people, Central American people, etc. So this is the first part. The second part that we get here is the general meaning of immigration law in New Zealand, right? So New Zealand immigration laws provide a framework for us to manage immigration in a way that balances our national interests with our international obligations, protecting both New Zealanders and migrants, right? Now, you can take like the two sides of the coin. If you respect rights in your country, all the laws that you create, all the constitution, all the structure of law, and especially with migration law, will respect the migrants, right? If you try to find cases in New Zealand about migration law, you will figure out that they speak with a lot of respect, even with the judge are against, or even with the subject create a situation against the law, they always speak with respect. They didn't put any kind of expression like this one in one legal document or in one decision, in one sentence, because that is against the human rights, right? So I put this just for show you how they use it. Other countries as Australia or let me know, or Canada, they have strong standards for migration law, really strong. But if by the end of all this proceeding you do all good, you will have your citizenship or your documents, right? In other countries, it's really hard unless you get married with some national or etc. Then we have the proceeding that is called adjustment of status, right? When I enter to a country, in the general, I am a tourist. So I have a permission depending of the treaties that get my country. For example, in Latin America, we can travel just with our ID or with our passport, and without any proceeding, we can stay maximum 6 months in each country. Then if we want to apply for visa, we can do it so easily, and we have like 2 years for work, travel, etc. It's so easy. But for example, if one French citizen want to come, they need to apply for a specific visa that is so expensive, and the proceeding is really hard, right? So depending of the treaties that get our countries, we can have some facilities in other states. If one time that we arrive as a tourist, if we want to change that status, we need to use one proceeding that in the most of the cases is called adjustment of status, right? So the process of applying for a permanent residence through consular consisting overseas. An applicant for adjustment of status must process in certain legal immigration. We can do it for a lot of reasons, but around the world, the most common ones are 3: family, studies, work. That's it. If you found all the supports and you explain to all the immigration office all around the world your interest in the country, and you give that interest authentically and good support, you will have maybe a long term. My best friend is applying for a Belgian visa. Now is 2 years. It's not visa. It's just the permanent residence. We call it visa here. 2 years it's taking the process, and she didn't have an answer. Now she can work, she can do her life, she can go to the doctor if she has troubles or something, but she is not a resident. She, in this moment, she has a special status that let that her life continue, but she is working on adjustment of the status. It's just an example, like a personal example. All my proceeding for getting my visa here takes me 1 month. Everything. Taking all my certificates, apply, that they answer, that they send my passport to La Paz and give me again. 1 month is nothing. So that is for the agreements or for the reputation or goodwill that have your country all around the world. In Latin America, the easiest one is Argentina and Chile. They have like the best status around the world. Then Colombia, I always have troubles when I'm in the airport. They check until my last coin. I need to report all my money, my bank accounts, everything. But also they figure out so much my backpacks because I am Colombian. So they imagine that I have like a full of cocaine, and they do it every time. It's no time that they didn't do it to me. So it's something that I have to church with just because I born in Colombia, right? And I know that we have different context, but that is mine. When we apply for one of these documents, we will have the first is the citizenship, right? Is the status of being national of a particular country, but also in states, that is the example that I take here, you can obtain your citizenships by being born in the US, being born abroad of the US for citizen parents, or for naturalization. That process of naturalization is getting married with someone that born in the US or that have the US citizenship. Traveling, I discovered that a lot of US citizens, they sell their papers for $10,000, $20,000. They get married with you, then you pay, of course, that you pay the money, they get married with you, you have your papers, and then working, you will get the money back so fast, and then they pay it. That is so illegal, but it's so common. They do it so much. So that is like the fastest way in all around the world to getting documents. That is illegal, and I will show you how if they discover, of course, that you lose your papers and they put you back at your original country, but it's a reality. Then, when you want to apply for a citizenship, you need to present this citizenship tests. And now is when you start to see that some people start to study all the history, the culture, the food, all the customs that have one specific place, because at some point of that interviews, they will have to present an exam. I don't know, maybe one paragraph or the most representative speech of the president of the United States. And they need to know how or under which context he pronounced it, right? So they did a study for this. And if they didn't pass, they have to present it again until they passed. I know that in US it's like 2 opportunities, in Belgium is 3. But then if you lost it, you will have troubles for apply again, right? So you need here that we have the example of US is you must pass the test for get the citizenship, right? Some people didn't consider that is hard, but in the most of the cases they makes that you speak the language, right? If you are applying for Dutch visa, you will need minimum show them that you can speak the basics for applying for something or for a job or for a study, etc. And then demonstrate rudimentary knowledge of US history or political system. This is around the world. You need to present it. Then we have, so it's tourist. Then you can apply for this change of status that you can apply for conditional residence. And you can, of course, get the citizenship by other ways, but if you didn't have a partner, or you don't want to get married, or you don't have like a family reason, you can apply for conditional residence, and you need to show them that, yeah, I want to work in your country for 2 years because I get the job check. This is my contract. You can call to my I don't know, my friend that is living here, and she will give you a reference about me and about my behavior and everything. They need a lot of supports in this. So this is just a provisional document that by the end of all the process will give you the permanent resident status. Status is a status, and that you keep that. And yeah, if they figure out and all the papers and all the requirements that they need, and you will get the conditional resident as result. In the most of the times is 2 years, then you can apply for other one for 5 years, and then you can apply to the citizenship. That is the general process. In some countries it's more, in some other countries are less. Okay, then we have the example of US, they have like immigration court. And if you have troubles in that process or in that change of status, you will finish there. And you need to explain all the reasons to the judge, of course. Then also they have other provisional status. When you get married, you start like not just that you get married and you have your citizenship. No, you get married and then all the government and the agencies that are in charge of that, they start to oversee your relationship. They start to check it out, that it's not fake, that you really are in love, like all the pictures and all the videos and all the shared and moments and love and etc. And if it's less than 2 years old, that relationship, they will give you a provisional status. Please let me know if you listen me good, because I have like that my internet connection is unstable. Everything good?
Sí, sí.
Sí, súper bueno. Entonces, esta es la manera en la que ellos previenen el fraude, ¿sí? Ese documento provisional me va a durar mientras que yo supero ese periodo de prueba. Esos 2 años que me aguanto al tipo que le pagué para tener la ciudadanía. Esos 2 años que me aguanto esa relación intercultural, que bien difíciles que sí son. Y bueno, después de eso, yo supero ese periodo de prueba, entre muchas otras condiciones, yo puedo tener mi ciudadanía, ¿verdad? En Estados Unidos, que es el ejemplo que les estoy mostrando, que es uno de los más difíciles por todos estos temas que hemos comentado. If all of this goes wrong, we have the deportation, okay? Also known as removal. This is completely allowed for the countries. They can do whatever that they want, but in the most of the time, they need to start to a process to inform you. And sometimes that process takes 2 days or 3 days, sometimes years, but it's legally, okay? They can remove it, and this is so important. They call alien to all the foreign people. It was interesting for me. So legally removing an alien from the US in response to an order issued by immigration court or by the office. That can happen all time. Like all these people that work in airports, they have the power to put you out of the country. They are working with the immigration office. So US immigration law specifies many grounds for deportation, all of which involve the violation of US immigration law, okay? They can do whatever that they want. That is the process. Migration law, this is your work. This is the cases that you will know. Then we have some classes of deportable aliens. That here is like a general stuff that you need to know where they can do it, that proceeding with you, okay? So, inadmissible at time of entry or violate status. For example, when I go out for Peru, I take my maximum. I take 6 months in Peru. And I remember that I go out the last day of my permission. And they told me, they make me a lot of questions, like, it takes so long in our country, if you was just a tourist and etc. And it's like, yes, I travel slow. And they told me, okay, after you go, you cannot return in 1 year from now. And then you will have the 6 months again. This is a rule that have a lot of countries in South America. But if I go out, if I go in like, if I return to Peru in an illegal way and they catch me, they will make a report and they can create a status and a specific status for me, making that, making a resolution and a document that don't let me go into Peru never again, or for 5 years or for 7. And also in the passport, if they deport you, they will put a stamp, like quite huge, like this, deported, okay? If you present a violation of law in that country, like as complex result the process, and especially if you are involved in a crime, you can be kicked out and you can lose all the documents that you tramited, okay? Then if you don't respect the condition of entry, if you make it the marriage night, if they catch that you paid someone for get married, or that maybe you are married with a friend, or that is doesn't true all this information that you are giving them, they will kick you out. And also it's a crime because the documents are involved, and they can I will explain that in a bit, because then will be really confusing. If you made like an aggravated felony, que es un delito agravado, es otra manera de decir delito. Then if you register, if you didn't register that you are a sex offender, if in your documents you are completely honest and you say like, yes, in my country I had troubles, but everything was a mistake, and the result of all that process was that I am not guilty, you don't have troubles at all. But if you lie in that process, they will make a report, okay? Then, if you have troubles with drugs, you are a dealer, or etc., if you are involved with crimes to domestic violence, stalking, or violation of protection orders, are crimes against children or child abuse, you are out. The documents, like the falsification of documents, in any documents that you need to present, some certificates, graduation certificates, all the documents that you put in that kind of offices, and is something wrong with them, you will have something wrong with you soon. And then all the crimes that are involved with security and terrorism. I don't know if you remember, 20 years ago, all the troubles that we get with terrorism in US after the attacks, they started and put all the immigration standards higher. And it was because of that, because they start to stigmatize some countries and some people from some countries just as an idea of they are terrorists. And they do it in front of you. That happened in France now, because they are having these kind of troubles also. So this is all connected with human rights. So with human rights, as we know, right? Then they have in US the green card. I know that I talked with this with Laleska in one of our speaking calls, so she had it so clear. And it's the other way that they know the permanent residence cards. It's one of the most important documents that you can get if you are trying to live in the US and continue make your life there, right? The green card is a card that is issued to people who have been granted lawful permanent residence of the US. And this card give you the permanent resident status. Got it? It's quite hard, but the one time that you got it, you can do your life. Is one way that they call it. Es como lo mismo que nosotros decimos, a ver, la visa de la Mercosur. Es lo mismo, es una manera en la que nosotros lo llamamos, pues porque así se llama el acuerdo. Es importante que lo tengamos en mente, porque si no conoces el contexto, dices, ajá, ¿qué es esto? Ok, esto es un estatus, un documento que te dan para poder trabajar, vivir, estudiar, hacer tu vida en Estados Unidos, ¿va? Okay, then we have other categories that is like not immigrant, that we can have like someone that go to that country for a temporary period of time. I'm going to know your country in 3 months. I am a tourist, or I'm not a non-immigrant. I am just temporarily in your country. Tourists, for example, are considered not immigrants. And a foreigner is one of the common ways to call someone that is not from your country. Then we have some specific agreements or international treaties that helps to citizens from some countries to get facilities in the other countries for basically for everything, for study, for work, for make a family, for documents. And this happens also with all the UE that we talked about yesterday. They do it so much. They have a specific agreements. If you, for example, if you are getting married with one UE citizen, if you are married with a Dutch or with Belgium guy or girl, in the case of Rafael, or whatever, with a girl, because we respect the freedom. If you get married with one of them, you can also migrate to other countries that belongs to the UE. So basically, the citizenship of the others. That is so incredible. You can apply for visas in other countries so easy just because you are here. The example that I take tonight for you is the NAFTA, right? North American Free Trade Agreement, an international treaty that created a special economic zone that involves US, Canada, and Mexico. As a consequence of this treaty, the TN visa was created to allow center professionals who are citizens of NAFTA countries to enter in the US temporarily to conduct a business activities, right? So if I'm Mexican and I have, I don't know, a lot of invests, or I want to invest a lot of money, I will have less troubles applying for documents because we have this trade. The NAFTA is so common. It's one of the most now around the world, even with all the complications that have Mexicans with US people and all this wall and etc. I know that you remember what means affidavits because we saw it before. And this is so related with the topic because for the most of the documents, we always need notarize them, right? They need an stamp by the license or a notary that will confirm all that information that is there. Even if I want to apply for something here, or if I want, for example, I let a document letting like all the permissions for negotiation with banks to my mom in Colombia. And every 6 months, I need to, if I want to make one huge or one big movement that can be a little suspicious because I am out, my mom needs to go to the bank and present that document. So in Colombia it's notarized, but the manager of the bank told me that every 6 months I need to create a new one in the consulate, just telling like, yes, I need that my mom represent me in Colombia, etc. So in some specific contexts, all this function by the notary will belongs to the consulate. That is important. And basically all these processes about identity and about all the personal information, and if we need that someone give us that faith, we will always be related with notary public, but in the international aspect, we will have the consulate. If we have if we let that, I remember that I told you that we had 6 months, right, for travel in South America. If I stay 6 months and one, I need to pay in Peru is $1 per day, in Bolivia is $4 per day. If they have like a tariff that you need to pay for every day that you take more, but your status automatically is the overstay. You are overstaying in one country that is not yours, that you don't have the status for stay there because your tourist status is gone. So overstay is the way that we call it. We don't call it illegal, criminal. No, we call it overstay. Okay. Yeah. Here, as you know, it's like unlawfully presence in the US, but by international law rules, this is not correct. Then other legal permission that we get in US, and I know that if you are like, if you like cine, you would like to see like cinema or see movies or US movies, I know that you listen one time, at least one time in your life, the parole, right? So el parole es un permiso especial, ¿sí? Y es un programa que el Departamento de Seguridad Nacional da discrecionalmente. Cuando nosotros aplicamos para ser refugiados en otros países, ese estatus en Estados Unidos, ese permiso especial, en Canadá también funciona, este permiso especial en el cual te acoge un estado por una situación de violencia, de persecución que tú estás viviendo en tu país, se llama parole. I am applying to a parole. Okay? The embassy, that we know that the embassy is the one that represents one state in other. And when we talk about sovereignty, the first lessons of our career, we know that the space that is taken by the embassy in the government, for example, the Embassy of Colombia in Bolivia, that matters that take that office belongs to the territory in Colombia. And if I need to apply for protection, I am like in the territory, I am in Colombia. They cannot put me out if I am there, because that is my territory. Este tema es temas de soberanía, entonces la Lesca y Daisy, si no me falla mi memoria, lo van a ver a lo largo de la carrera, pero básicamente es que el territorio, El Salvador tiene un territorio, ¿verdad? Y las embajadas que quedan en El Salvador, esto se llama soberanía extraterritorial. Y es importante para temas de delito y para temas de delitos en especial y para temas, bueno, de seguridad nacional y muchas otras circunstancias. Resulta que la embajada de Alemania que queda en El Salvador, ese pedacito, esos 200 metros, esos 500 metros que ocupa esa oficina de Alemania en El Salvador, pertenece al territorio de Alemania. Es como si ficticiamente lo que compone la soberanía que estamos hablando. Se supone que nosotros estamos acá, ¿no? Está la Tierra, ¿no? Se supone que todo hacia abajo y todo hacia arriba, el espectro, lo que haya abajo, yo que sé, encontraron una huaca de oro debajo de la Embajada de El Salvador, debajo de la Embajada de Alemania en El Salvador, eso le pertenece a Alemania, ¿verdad? Pero también, si llegase a presentar una situación donde donde un alemán necesitase refugio y lo quisieran deportar, etcétera, en esos 200 metros, no tiene soberanía El Salvador, tiene soberanía Alemania. Es como, no sé si se vieron el capítulo de Los Simpsons de las aguas internacionales. Funciona así, igual, pero en el territorio. Es como un ejemplo para que nunca se les olvide. Eso pasa con las embajadas, ¿sí? Es la representación de tu república o de tu país en otros países. Y luego tenemos el consulado. Right? The consulate is more related with all the documents, permission, or all the extraordinary situation that you can get. If, for example, you lose your passport in China, you need to go to the consulate of your country and ask for the documents. If you, for example, in Cuba, you cannot take like your money from the ATM as easy like in our countries because all this political trouble that they had. So you have to arrive with cash. And I remember a friend that he always paid everything with card. And they didn't know it. So they arrived with any coin. So basically, he didn't have have a chip, for nothing. And he went to the consulate and to the embassy for money. And they made all the proceedings for make that he had money, right? For every extraordinary situation that you can get in a country, you will go to the consulate. The people that makes all the proceedings for going to your country or for return to your country in all this pandemic, they do it, the consulate. They are the people in charge to evaluate, to study your case and create all the facilities to you as a citizen, right? It can exist in one country more than one. You can have in one country 5, 6 consulates. And just as a general culture, the salary of one of these councils, this salary is general. They have like really similar standards, and they pay, the state pays for your living and for your transport, a part of your salary. But your salary is around $10,000 per month. And I know because one council here in Argentina, the Council of Argentina, here in La Paz and Tarija, we are so, like, we were friends when she was here. And I make like an interview. I was like, yes, and how much money? And she explained me that. They have like an international standard, but they have to change the mission every 4 years. And before she comes here, she was working in Russia. But that is not vacation. Even you are in another country, you have a lot of free time because they just work part-time. And then you have your vacations. That is like month or month and a half, and that is paid. So, and they have to pay your house and all your transport and all your diplomacy expenses. But it's like perfect. When you are like, I know that for arrive to this charge is really hard because you need to present a lot of exams. But what time that you get it, kind of with political help, you are done, because you can stay in the most remote land of the world, and your country for sure will have the consulate there. And it's like quite good money because you're not paying for nothing. Just as an information. Chisme jurídico. Okay, this example, you know it because you saw the video with the kids. So every proceeding in immigration law is completely belongs to all the sovereignty of the states. If they want to put you a lawyer, good. If they don't want, they don't have the obligation of it, because basically you don't belong to the country. As you saw that they can be so rude in some cases. Then the illegal immigration that, as I told you, is not a correct use, is the people that is undocumented. And it's a situation which foreign is from one country enter in the other one without permission from the government, visa, parole, or documents. This is so easy with the border between, in the sum of the borders, because they do commerce. For example, now in Bolivia, they are taking advantage from Argentina that they are having an economical crisis. So basically, we are like in pandemic, and the borders are closed, like by bus with all the countries. But they are doing all time. You can go without trouble. You can cross, just nobody will put you a stamp. You can go to illegal without any trouble. If they catch you, yes, sorry, they will put you a tax fee and they will put you back. But if not, you can live there without troubles. That happens all around the world. Then happens the same with Bolivia and Peru. Por Desaguadero, igual, manejan un tráfico tremendo. Si los cogen, sí son documentados, pero lo hacen. Muchísima gente lo hace. Ya cada quien, pues depende cómo realiza sus cosas, ¿no? Okay, that's it. Do you have some questions about this topic? No? Okay. So, María Lalesca y Laura pueden estar, las preguntas son súper fáciles, o sea, de verdad, no pueden estar más fáciles. Vamos a hacer entonces el test. Regálenme un segundito, quiero mirar que lo tenga, que no lo tenga en... ¿Pueden verlo ahora?
Sí.
Ok, dice como quiz en curso, test. Entonces, seleccionan las que son correctas. Están muy fáciles, niñas. Niños, niñas, niño. Está súper fácil. Y bueno, aquí estaré. No, no sé si no había estado Francela al principio de la clase. Las personas que llamé son las personas que no lo van a presentar. La Lesca, ¿qué te va a anotar? La Lesca, Laura y María. Lo va a anotar ya. No me regañen, no me miren con esos ojos, no me juzguen. El resto lo llena. María, la Lesca. Tengo memoria a corto plazo. Y Laura. Listo. Y el resto sí, lo llenan nada más ahí. O sea, en este momento estamos 11 personas conectadas. Entonces, hasta que no me quede llena la encuesta, no puedo cerrar. Sí pueden contestar desde los celulares y todo, nadie está presentando inconvenientes. Son unas preguntas súper fáciles.
Hola, Gali, yo ya te mandé el, el test. ¿Sí llegó? Sí. Ay, no te escucho.
Sorry, estaba ahí hablando sola. Sí, me falta una persona por enviar. En este momento tengo... Falta una, me sigue faltando una, ¿no? Esperen. 8. Falta una. Cayeron en mis trampas. Hypothecation. Es muy divertido aplicar la fuerza. Anoche, bueno, no sé, yo ahí les cuento mientras que terminan. Yo nunca vi Star Wars, nunca en mi vida, ¿no? Y ahora una de mis compañeras aquí en el hostel, uno de mis compañeros es súper adicto como así toda la serie. Y le digo, bueno, nunca lo vi. ¿Cómo que nunca lo viste? El caso es que comencé a ver las películas. Ay, no, estoy obsesionada. Las estoy viendo tarde. No me acuerdo quién fue la que me mostraba Baby Yoda y ahora entiendo quién es el monacho, pero antes no. Entonces se siente muy divertido estar del lado oscuro de la fuerza, no sé. Esto que son re fáciles, re tranqui, pero ya vi que no les fue súper bien, entonces me va a tocar hacer las más difíciles. Todas están bien, solamente hay 2 errores, 3 errores ahí. En la pregunta número 1, recuerden que tort law es responsabilidad civil, contractual y extracontractual. Una persona me puso responsabilidad, otra persona me puso obligaciones jurídicas, entonces, bueno, importante. Eso fue creo que fue de las primeras cosas que vimos en clase, responsabilidad civil, contractual y extracontractual. Luego en hipoteca nadie tuvo problema, en tratado internacional tampoco, y luego en tax relief, sí, eso fue lo que vimos hace 2 días, es reducción de impuestos, ¿sí? En teoría reducción está bien, pero es el más completo. Esa es la idea, contestar el que más tenga cercanía y hacerlo como en el contexto, que sería lo que mejor traduce. Este es de ensayo. Quienes no presentaron el ensayo, o sea, obviamente tienen nota, pero les va a permitir cómo se va a manejar. Quienes no presentaron hoy este primer test, ya saben que tienen 5 sobre 5. De aquí en adelante, lo que vamos a hacer es comenzar a hacer un poco de análisis. Vamos a comenzar a colocar unos textos más gorditos. Voy a ver si lo puedo hacer con encuestas de Google, porque voy a comenzar a colocar un poco más grande el texto. Y básicamente eso es, una vez a la semana vamos a tener esta actividad donde vamos a destinarle 5 sobre 5 es la nota máxima. O sea, son 5 preguntas, las 5 están bien. En Colombia decimos así, 5 sobre 5. Excelente. 100 sobre 100. Para que lo sepan, que fueron la Lesca, María y Laura. Y bueno, el resto ya saben su nota, ya cada quien sabe lo que contestó. Luego tenemos la última, que también tuvo ahí una persona que se me descachó. Full legal capacity es capacidad jurídica plena, no capacidad full. Hay ¿qué? Cascarita, le decimos en Colombia. Bueno, regálenme un segundo que tengo que tomar fotos de los resultados. Ya todos finalizaron. 9, 10. Sí. Regálenme un segundito, yo tomo fotos. Difícil, no me pueden decir que es difícil porque me pongo a llorar.
No.
Súper fácil. Bueno, les voy a contar de una vez la actividad de mañana, la que vamos a realizar para la speaking call. Esperen un segundo. Ok. Ahora vamos a lanzar el primero. La preparación de la clase, la encuesta de la preparación de la clase. Ustedes ya hicieron la que yo hice, ahora les toca a ustedes evaluarme. Y vamos a comentar 2 cosas muy importantes. ¿Listo? ¿Todos listos? ¿Alguien tuvo la oportunidad muchas gracias? ¿Alguien tuvo la oportunidad de conectarse el día que les envié el link de la sesión de Corte Interamericana, de este caso en Colombia? ¿Alguien se pudo conectar? ¿Nadie?
Yo lo intenté, pero me surgió una cuestión en el trabajo y no logré verlo todo, pero estuve en una parte en la que estaban explicando como los daños o qué tipo de daños. Eso fue lo que logré ver un ratito, pero la verdad no pude ver
en
todo
español.
completo por...
En español, ¿viste?
No, estaba explicando en inglés. No,
Perfecto.
le preguntaron en español y él respondió en inglés. Ajá.
Bueno, esto se los tengo que contar a ustedes. Yo sé que esto va a quedar en YouTube. Eh,